Good afternoon. My name is David Mondani, and I am 41 years old. I am blessed to be sharing with you today. In fact, I'm blessed to just be standing here. You see, I'm among an estimated 5 million living Americans who have attempted suicide. And by God's grace, I am a survivor. I don't know exactly why God chose to extend His grace to me. I am profoundly aware that one person dies by suicide approximately every 13 minutes. 40,000 Americans each year. But one thing I do know is that God brought hope to me during the darkest days of my life, and He never abandoned me, even in my deepest pain. In the fall of 1991, I started college and attended a local Christian university. By the second semester, things began to unravel. I remember beginning to hear voices that would tell me what multiple choice questions to select on my exams, only to find out later that the voices were incorrect. I would begin receiving failing grades. The voices grew stronger and louder, and at times it seemed like thousands were chanting at me, an inescapable horror that also led to strange and irrational beliefs. I became paranoid, believing that there were demons in other people and that the demons were coming after me. I also had vivid hallucinations. On one such night, I saw our men's dormitory on fire, and I ran around campus alerting people to get to a safe place. One of the voices I heard, I was convinced God was God Himself. As a believer, this did not seem so outrageous to me, nor my unsuspecting friends. However, I now know that my insight and judgment were obviously impaired, as God's voice began to tell me that if I took my life, He would somehow be glorified. I developed a simple plan. My parents were out of town for the weekend, and I was house sitting. I would go to my dad's bedroom, pull out his gun from under his mattress, and end my life. Fortunately, along the way, to carry out my plan, I mentioned it to my little brother, who immediately ran for help. As I was headed down the hallway to carry out my plan, some of my buddies intercepted me. I fought hard to get free from their hold, but they had pinned me down and called the police. Thus began a series of events that ended with me being admitted to a secured psychiatric facility, and I was eventually diagnosed with schizophrenia. I suffered 6 relapses during the next 7 years. People often ask me how they can help their loved ones suffering from a mental illness, and I recall critical turning points in my own recovery. First is recognizing the risk factors of suicide. Educate yourself on how you might be able to identify signs and symptoms. Without a support system around me who had done this, I would have continued to spiral downward. Second, providing a safe and supportive, non-judgmental environment. This allowed me more freedom to share my innermost thoughts, which ultimately saved my life. And lastly, gently urging individuals to seek professional care. Many who attempted suicide never seek such care. I can say from personal experience that stigma, shame, they can be significant roadblocks. Culture says it is shameful to have a mental illness, but my God says there is no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus. With the support of my Christian friends who normalized my experience, who validated me, who were willing to talk about it, who gently urged me to get help and patiently waited, who maybe prayed for me from afar, but never tried to lay hands on me or engage in theological arguments, who encouraged me to take my meds when I was finally ready, and who held me accountable to continue treatment. I'm eternally grateful to them and their faithfulness. This was God's grace to me. So if your loved one is struggling with loss, hopelessness, or helplessness, I want you to hear me loud and clear. God will never leave you nor forsake you. He has never abandoned you. He weeps with you because he is our great, compassionate God. See, he has taken my greatest pain and turned it into a purposeful ministry and promise. So as we prepare today to care well for others, let us move forward with hope in Jesus Christ, who can deem that no situation is hopeless. Thank you.